You know what's funny? It's not the enemies you see coming that hurt the most. Nah, those are easy. You spot them, you brace yourself, and you get ready for the hit. But the ones who claim they got your back, the ones who smile right in your face while sharpening the knife behind your back. Yeah, those are the ones that hit you when you least expect it. They break something inside you that ain't so easy to fix. It's like you're playing a game, and you think you got a teammate, someone who's supposed to watch your six while you take the front. But guess what? When the chaos hits, they ain't shooting at the enemy. They're aiming straight at your head. That's the punchline. You trusted them, and they took your trust, wrapped it up nice, and left it bleeding on the floor. You see, people love to wear masks, not the kind I wear. Oh no, mine is honest. Mine tells you I'm chaos from the get-go, but there's their masters at blending in, making you think they're your kind. They speak like you, laugh like you, even bleed like you. They learn your dreams, your weaknesses, your fears, and when you're too caught up in their illusion, that's when they strike. You gave them the map to your soul, and they used it to burn you down. You handed them the lighter and thought they'd keep you warm, but instead, they set fire to everything you cared about. Why? Because betrayal tastes sweeter when it comes from a friend. It's richer, more satisfying, and you're left questioning your own judgment, your own worth, and that's the cruel part. They don't just take your trust, they make you doubt yourself. They make you think it's your fault that they betrayed you. Maybe I was too weak. You'll say maybe I pushed them away. But let me tell you something. No, it's not about being weak. It's about being real. And some people, they hate that you're not, like them, hollow, fake, always playing the game. But here's the trick. You stay sharp. You keep your eyes open. You don't let the sweetness of their words cloud your vision. You observe. You listen, not just to what they say, but how they move when they think you're not looking. Because a snake always leaves a trail. If you know where to look, you gotta be like a wolf. See, a wolf doesn't trust the pack blindly. It watches. It knows that when food runs low, the ones closest might just turn against you. And when the time comes, it doesn't hesitate to show its teeth. You don't gotta bark all the time. Just make sure they know. If they cross you, there will be consequences. And when they come crawling back, playing the victim, saying they didn't mean to hurt, you don't even bother listening. You think they didn't know what they were doing. You think they just tripped and fell into betrayal. Now it was planned, calculated. They just never expected you to rise from the ashes. You want to know what really scares people? It's not the loud, an angry reaction. It's when you get quiet, when they see that their betrayal didn't break you, when you move on like they never existed. You don't give them the satisfaction of your pain. You just build. You focus. You get stronger. And when they see you, shining, living, breathing without their poison, they hate it. They hate that they couldn't destroy you. So stay sharp. Don't let your heart be so open that anyone can walk in with muddy feet. Protect your space, keep your circle small, and keep your instincts sharper than ever. You can't stop betrayal, but you can sure as hell make them regret it. You don't go out of your way for revenge. No, that's too easy. You just let your success speak for itself. Let your silence scream louder than any words. Let your growth make them choke on their own guilt. In the end, they'll see it the price of betraying someone who only wanted good for them, And while they're stuck in their own mess, regretting every damn lie they ever told, you'll be miles ahead, untouchable, because pain makes you sharper, betrayal makes you wiser. And while they're stuck in the past, you'll be out there conquering every damn challenge. You'll be untouchable, not because you're invincible, but because you've learned. You've learned to see through the masks, to stay sharp, even when they pretend to be on your side. Let them hate you for being strong. Let them whisper behind your back. Just know that when they turn around, hoping to see you broken, they'll find nothing but the ashes of the person they thought they knew. And you'll be born sharper, colder, and ready for whatever life throws at you next. You know what else gets me? The way they act like they care, like they're just looking out for you. They'll tell you they're just being honest, that they're just keeping it real. But underneath that fake concern, there's a hint of satisfaction, a glint in their eye that tells you they're enjoying watching you struggle. They pretend they want to help, but deep down, they just want to see you fall. They dress their jealousy up as advice, their envy as guidance, and you're too caught up in your own chaos to see it coming. It's like they're setting a trap with kindness. They'll tell you to slow down, to not push yourself too hard. They'll make it sound like they're worried about you, but in reality, they're just planting doubt in your head, trying to clip your wings before you even realize you can fly. They don't want you to reach higher, because if you do, it means they've been wasting their lives while you've been fighting for yours. It's not your success that scares them. It's the realization that they never had the guts to chase their own people love, to keep you small. They'll say they're just being realistic when they're really just projecting their own failures onto you. They'll tell you that your dreams are too big, too wild, too risky. But don't you see? That's because they don't have the spine to even dream. They've let life crush them into submission, and now they can't stand seeing someone else with fire in their eyes. Misery loves company, and they want you sitting right next to them, nodding along while they list every reason why success is impossible. But here's the catch. You don't owe them your silence. You don't owe them your doubt just because they couldn't conquer theirs. You stand up, you speak your mind, and you let them choke on their own disbelief. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, your battles, your scars. They didn't bleed for your dreams, so they don't get a say in how you chase them. You don't need their permission to rise. You gotta stop looking for validation from people who couldn't handle your reality. They act like they're protecting you, but what they're really doing is suffocating your ambition. You can't breathe around them, because every time you take a step forward, they're there to remind you of your failures. You know why? Because they can't stand the idea that you might actually make it. It terrifies them. It makes them question why they gave up. And instead of confronting their own fears, they'd rather make you feel guilty for wanting more. And don't you dare apologize for wanting more. Don't you dare feel bad for having a hunger they'll never understand. Some people were born to just exist, to take up space and complain about the hand they were dealt. But you're different. You weren't born to just blend in, to walk quietly through life without leaving a mark. You were born to break the mold, to shatter expectations, to prove that even the broken can be powerful. Stop waiting for them to clap for you. Some people will never celebrate your success because it reminds them of their failures. They'd rather see you stuck in the mud with them than soaring above it all. They'll laugh at your plans, tell you to be realistic, say you're chasing fantasies. Let them laugh. Let them sit there drowning in their own mediocrity while you turn your pain into progress, because that's the thing. They don't see what you've been through. They think you're just lucky that you haven't faced real struggle, but they didn't see the nights when you questioned your own worth, the mornings when you dragged yourself out of bed with nothing but raw determination. They don't see the battles you fight in your own head, the doubts that claw at your confidence like wild animals. They only see the surface, and they're too blind to realize that your strength was forged in fire. So when they come at you with that fake smile, pretending they're happy for you, just know they're waiting for you to slip. They're watching, hoping that your success is just a phase. They'll act supportive to your face and tear you down behind your back. But that's the joke. They think their whispers can break someone who's already survived the worst. They think their words can shatter a soul that's been to hell and back. You owe them nothing, not your silence, not your doubt, not your weakness. You don't owe them a version of yourself that fits their comfort zone. Let them squirm, let them watch as you defy every single expectation they had for you. You're not here to make them feel comfortable. You're here to claim what's yours, to walk your path, no matter how much it scares them. And when they finally realize they underestimated you, when they see you thriving, growing, becoming the very thing they said you couldn't be, they'll feel it, the regret, the shame, the realization that they tried to break someone who wasn't theirs to break. And while they're still stuck in the same place, telling the same tired stories about how life screwed them over, you'll be moving forward one step at a time, leaving their bitterness in the dust. So stay sharp. Don't lower your guard just because someone smiles at you. Watch how they act when they think you're not looking. Listen to how they talk about others, because that's how they'll talk about you when you're not around. Don't let their approval become your addiction. Don't let their acceptance determine your worth. You are not here to be liked. You are here to survive, to thrive, to burn brighter than the darkness they tried to drown you in. Let them think you're cold, heartless, ruthless. Let them say you've changed, because you have, and it's not your job to stay the same, just to keep them comfortable. Your evolution is your power. You're not here to keep the peace. You're here to conquer every damn thing they said you couldn't, and when it's all said and done, when they're left wondering how you did it, you won't even have to explain. Your existence will be enough to haunt them, because the joke's on them. They thought you were just another lost soul, but you were sharpening your claws while they were plotting your downfall. You were preparing for war while they were busy trying to fit in. And now they'll have to watch you rule the very world they thought you'd never survive in. They'll never understand the kind of war you fought just to get here. They'll never grasp the gravity of the silence you endured, the betrayal that tried to bury you alive. They think you just got lucky, like the universe handed you a break, while they were left with the scraps they'll never know about. The nights you spent wrestling with your own demons, feeling the weight of failure pressed down on your chest until you could barely breathe. They don't see the scars because you don't wear them like a badge. You keep them hidden, not out of shame, but because your pain is your own. It's personal, it's sacred. They want to know how you keep going. They're curious why you don't fold like they did, why you don't just throw in the towel and admit defeat. You know why? It's because they've never tasted true hunger. They've never wanted something so bad that the thought of giving up feels like a slow death. You've been clawing your way through darkness for so long that the thought of quitting isn't even an option. You keep pushing because you know that stopping means letting them win. It means giving power to the voices that said you wouldn't make it. And here's the thing, they'll always downplay your struggle because admitting you've survived worse than they ever did makes them feel small. It forces them to confront the truth that while they were busy whining about small setbacks, you were bleeding and still fighting. They hate that you turned your pain into fuel while they let theirs cripple them. It's easier for them to call you heartless than to admit you're stronger. Let them talk, let them gossip, let them create stories that make them feel better about their own lack of courage. You see, when someone doesn't have the guts to take risks, they comfort themselves by tearing down those who you don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You're not living for them. So why the hell would you care what they think? Some people will always be spectators, stuck in the stands, while you're on the field, getting battered and bruised. They don't understand the rules of your game. They don't get why you keep playing. When every hit feels like a bone breaking, they think survival is just about breathing. But you know it's about pushing through the pain, about getting up, even when your legs feel like they're made of lead. It's about never giving them the satisfaction of seeing you broken. You're not in this for recognition. You're not in this to prove them wrong. You're in this because you promised yourself you wouldn't die in that dark place. You swore that you would become the person they never believed you could be. You took the blows, swallowed the pain, and kept walking. And now, when they see you standing, they act shocked. They pretend like you've changed, like you've lost your humanity, but they don't know what it cost you to stay sane. They don't know how many times you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. They didn't see the days when giving up felt like the only option you faced, that darkness, and said, "Not today." You picked yourself up, wiped the blood from your mouth, and kept moving. They'll never admit they envy your resilience. They'll say you're too tough, too distant, too detached. They'll claim you don't care anymore, but that's because they don't understand that caring too much is what almost destroyed you. You had to build those walls, had to harden your heart, because keeping it open almost killed you. You learned the hard way that not everyone deserves your vulnerability, and now you're a fortress. You don't let just anyone in. You don't waste time explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't justify your growth, your silence, your decision to keep your circle small. You're not heartless. You're just selective. You know the difference between loyalty and convenience now you've learned that sometimes the ones who say they'll be there for you are the first to disappear when things get messy. That's why you stay sharp. You keep your instincts alive, never allowing comfort to dull your edge. You remember how it felt to be betrayed, to be left behind when you needed someone the most, that you've internalized that pain, not to let it consume you, but to let it remind you to never go soft. Not again, not for anyone, and when they come around, acting like they've always believed in you, acting like they knew you'd make it. You let them talk. You let them rewrite the story in their heads where they were, the supportive friends all along. You don't bother correcting them. You just keep moving forward, because you're not here to carry their guilt or their shame. You're not here to be their hero or their cautionary tale. You're here to live on your terms. You don't let their lies disrupt your peace. You don't let their twisted versions of the past mess with your mind. You remember every detail. You remember the silence when you needed their voice. You remember the judgment when you needed understanding. You remember how they mocked your dreams when they thought you weren't listening. You remember everything, and that's what makes you lethal. You've become the embodiment of survival, and they hate that they couldn't break you. They see your strength as arrogance, your silence as contempt. But what they don't understand is that your quiet isn't empty. It's filled with every lesson you learned, every scar you earned. You don't need to boast about your resilience. You just walk in it. Let it speak for itself. And when they finally realize that they underestimated you, that they misjudged your willpower, it'll be too late. You'll be too far ahead, too focused on building your own empire to even notice their regret. They'll watch you from the sidelines, wondering how you managed to survive everything they threw at you. They'll never get it. They'll never understand that while they were busy talking, you were busy working. While they were plotting your downfall, you were sharpening your mind, preparing for whatever came next. And now they're left with nothing but the bitter taste of their own betrayal. While you move on, stronger, sharper, and utterly unbreakable. Let them pretend they were always rooting for you. Let them rewrite history in their favor. You don't owe them the truth. You owe them nothing. You've moved past their games, their lies, their petty attempts to keep you grounded. You've taken flight, and they'll never catch up. Stay sharp, stay ruthless. Because in a world full of snakes, you're the one who learned how to survive the venom. You see, people don't just envy your success. They envy your scars. They hate the fact that you took every hit and still managed to stay on your feet. They thought those wounds would finish you, make you weak, turn you into one of them, bitter, broken, drowning in self-pity. But no, you didn't let that happen, did you? You stitched yourself up with nothing but raw will and a stubborn heart that refused to quit. They can't comprehend it. It messes with their heads, because in their world, pain equals defeat. But in yours, pain is the fuel. Pain is what kept you moving when everyone else would have dropped dead. They'll never understand that kind of strength. They'll call it coldness. They'll say you've changed, that you're distant, unfeeling. They'll say you're too hard on yourself, too focused on a grind. But that's because they never any nim nene hosni or never had to face their own weakness. They chose comfort over growth, safety over risk, and you. You didn't have that luxury life. Didn't give you the option to take it easy. You were thrown into the fire without warning, and you had two choices: burn or become the fire itself. You chose to blaze. You chose to turn your agony into power, and when they see you thriving, they'll pretend it doesn't bother them. They'll act like they don't notice your progress. They'll talk about you in past tense, like you're still that same broken version of yourself. They'll cling to old stories because they can't handle your transformation. You left them behind when you decided to fight for yourself. And now they're stuck in their own mess, trying to figure out how you slipped through their fingers. It eats them up inside, knowing they bet against you knowing. They thought you'd crumble and never come back. They didn't just doubt you. They hoped for your downfall. They whispered behind your back, saying you'd never make it, that you'd always be stuck in that pit of despair. And now they have to watch you rise. They have to see the strength in your eyes and realize they never truly knew you. People love to pretend they care. They love to say they want you to be happy. As long as your happiness doesn't outshine theirs, they're fine with you succeeding, as long as you stay in your lane and don't make them feel small. But the second you break through that ceiling, the second your dreams start turning into reality, they can't handle it. Their pride gets bruised. Their comfort zone gets threatened because your victory reminds them of their own failures. Don't bother making excuses for them. Don't tell yourself they didn't mean to hurt you. They knew exactly what they were doing. They just didn't think you'd survive it. They underestimated your will to fight back, your ability to take every insult, every lie, every betrayal, and turn it into ammunition. They thought their words would break you. They didn't realize they were just adding fuel to a fire that was destined to consume everything that tried to hold you back. And when they come crawling back, acting like they've always been in your corner, don't bother giving them space in your new world. They had their chance. They showed you their true colors when you were at your lowest. They proved that they only stick around when it's easy, when you're manageable, when you're predictable. But now that you're unpredictable, now that you're strong and unapologetic, they can't stand it. They'll try to play the victim, act like you've become heartless, like success has changed you. But you know the truth. You didn't change. You just stopped playing small to make them feel comfortable. You stopped dimming your light because it hurt their eyes. You learned that some people will never appreciate your strength because it makes them feel weak. They'll never understand that your silence isn't arrogance, it's peace. Your distance isn't hatred, it's self-preservation. You had to cut them off because their energy was poison. You had to walk away because staying meant losing yourself. And here's the best part. They'll keep watching, no matter how much they claim to hate you. Now they'll keep checking in. They'll act like they've moved on, like they don't care anymore. But curiosity will eat them alive. They'll want to know if you really made it, if you really became everything they said you couldn't. And when they see you standing taller than ever, living without their approval, they'll choke on the realization that you never needed them. They can try to rewrite the story, make themselves out to be the heroes, claim they were always supportive. Let them. You don't owe anyone your story. You don't owe them explanations. You don't owe them closure. Let them stew in their own regrets while you build your empire. Let them watch from a distance, wishing they had your resilience, because at the end of the day, they're stuck in the same cycle, hoping for the downfall of those brave enough to escape the cage they never had the guts to leave. But you didn't just escape. You burned that cage down. You shattered every limitation they placed on you and walked out with your head held high. You took the broken pieces and built something they'll never understand. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You didn't just move on, you evolved. And now, as they sit there trying to figure out where they went wrong, you keep moving, you keep growing, You keep proving that pain doesn't define you. It refines you. It makes you sharper, smarter, more relentless. You don't have time to hate them. You're too busy becoming unstoppable. Let them talk. Let them judge. Let them wonder why you don't react anymore. That's the real power, not needing to prove anything to anyone. Let them drown in their bitterness while you rise above it all. You're not in this for their approval. You're in this because you made a promise to yourself to never let anyone break you again. And that's the punchline, isn't it? They thought they'd watch you fall, but instead they'll spend the rest of their lives watching you conquer, stay sharp, stay relentless, and never ever apologize for being stronger than they could handle. You know what? They'll never admit that they were scared of you from the start. They saw that spark in your eyes and knew you were different, knew you weren't like them, content with just surviving, just getting by. You didn't settle, you didn't accept mediocrity, and that terrified them because it meant their excuses didn't hold weight around you. Your ambition was a mirror they couldn't stand looking into. It reflected everything they lacked: the guts, the fire, the will to push through, even when the world told them to quit. So they tried to smother that fire. They didn't just doubt you. They actively worked to make you doubt yourself. Subtle comments disguised as advice, fake encouragement laced with warnings. Don't aim too high. You'll just end up disappointed. You're trying too hard. Why can't you just take it easy? As if settling was somehow noble. As if giving up on your dreams would make you more likable. But you didn't take the bait. You saw through their lies, even when they were dressed up as concern. You knew that letting them win meant betraying yourself. And when you started making moves breaking out of the cycle, they were still fucking. It made them uneasy. They started whispering, trying to twist your success into arrogance. They claimed you were changing, becoming too ambitious, too focused. Funny, isn't it? The same ones who told you to do better now can't handle the fact that you actually did. They wanted you to improve, just not to the point where you outshined them. You see, some people are fine with you doing well, just not better than them. They'll cheer for your little wins, but get quiet when you start achieving the kind of success they only dream about. It's not about them wanting you to fail. It's about them not wanting to feel like failures themselves. They can't admit that they gave up long before you even started fighting. So instead they downplay your achievements. Act like you just got lucky, like your grind didn't exist. They ignore the sweat, the long nights, the pain. They act like it just magically happened for you. But you don't owe them your story. You don't need to sit down and explain every hardship, every moment where you almost gave up but didn't let them think it was easy. Let them assume you didn't struggle. It doesn't change the reality you fought for this. You bled for this. You tore yourself apart and rebuilt from the ground up while they were too busy complaining about how unfair life is. And now they see you standing tall, unbreakable, and it makes their skin crawl. Because it proves that their excuses were just that, excuses. You didn't have more resources. You didn't have an easier path. You just had the willpower they lacked, and that burns them alive. They'll never admit it, but deep down, they know they gave up on themselves long before they gave up on you. But you're not here to rub it in their faces. You don't need to stoop to their level just to prove a point. Success doesn't need a loudspeaker. It doesn't need validation from those who never believed in it. You let your actions do the talking. You keep moving forward, keep growing, and let them deal with the reality that they couldn't break you. And when they finally swallow their pride and try to come back into your life, acting like they always knew you'd make it, don't give them too much space. Be cautious. Remember how quickly they turned their back when you were down. Remember how they didn't offer a hand when you were crawling through the mud. It's not about holding grudges. It's about being smart. You can forgive, but never forget. You can be civil without being naive, because they haven't changed. They're just reacting to your success. They see you've made it despite them, and now they want to be associated with your strength. They'll claim they've always believed in you, that they were just being realistic, but you remember the truth. You remember the doubt, the mocking laughter, the dismissive comments. You remember who stayed and who didn't when things got ugly. So you move differently. Now you don't let people just walk back into your life like nothing happened. They have to earn that spot. They have to prove they're not just here because they see you shining. And if they can't handle that, too bad. God, you've learned to protect your energy, to not let just anyone into your space. You've earned that right. And it's not just about guarding yourself from betrayal. It's about valuing your own growth. You didn't come this far just to let the same people who tried to break you act like they're responsible for your strength. You built yourself from the ground up. You turned your pain into power, your doubts into determination. You did that, nobody else. So keep your circle tight. Keep your focus sharp. Stay true to yourself. Even when they try to twist the narrative, they'll say you're selfish for not letting them back in, that success made you heartless. But you know the truth. You didn't become heartless. You just stopped tolerating nonsense. You stopped giving away your loyalty to people who didn't deserve it. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your success. You don't owe them your story. You don't owe them access to the new you just because they suddenly realize your worth. Let them deal with the reality that you made it without their approval. Let them sit with the uncomfortable truth that they were wrong about you. And when they see you thriving, smiling without them building a life they never thought you could, let that be enough. Let your happiness be your revenge. Let your silence speak louder than any argument. You don't need to shout about your success. Just living well is enough to make them feel the sting of their own betrayal. Stay sharp, stay guarded. Never forget where you came from, and never let them make you feel guilty for becoming stronger. You earned every inch of your progress. You didn't just survive. You rose from the ashes and built an empire on the ruins they left behind. Let them talk. Let them hate. You'll keep moving forward, leaving them in the dust, wondering how they missed the warning signs that you were never meant to be broken.